Welcome back to the channel, everybody. So we have some XRP news today. We have some XLM news, Bitcoin news, Chainlink. JP Morgan has lost its mind, and the banks separately, this is separate, the banks are in trouble again. They have so many problems. It's not a joke. The second article is going to tell you everything you need to know about the big trouble the banks are in. I know each video, like the last 3 videos, the banks have been in some trouble. You can't make this stuff up, folks. We're going by what they're putting out. All right, man, it's unbelievable. We live in interesting times. It's unbelievable, to say the least. So this article here is titled Ripple versus SEC Recent Updates on Settlement Date. Really, it says here Ripple and SEC to meet next week. This is the SDNY Court's proceeding calendar for the week of April 15th displays a, quote, final pretrial conference, unquote, between the U.S. SEC and Ripple Labs on April the 16th. However, the courtroom detail shows, quote, TBD, unquote. That's interesting. So, who knows what that's going to be about? Let's scroll down here. It says, meanwhile, the SEC seeks a final judgment against Ripple that we know. This includes permanent injunctions. Of course, you know, the whole $2 billion penalty thing. It says, however, the SEC's recent closed door meeting on April the 11th, Ripple's delayed XRP unlocks from escrow and reasons given by expert Ashley Prosper on the Ripple versus SEC case being probably over, stirred further debate of potential settlement. And no, I don't believe they're going to have to pay $2 billion. They're probably going to whittle that down, but we'll see. You know, I'm not a lawyer, but typically, you know, the SEC will start high and then, you know, through other avenues that amount will get whittled down. And then there was another case, maybe it was the LBRY case, where the SEC actually showed some semblance of humanity and remorse, where they were like, maybe that was a little too much, too high. At least is what the article said as far as the penalty, because the penalty destroyed whatever company that was. I think it was LBRY Library, but don't quote me on that. But they destroyed a company, and then only to later on say, hey, maybe we went a little too far. It was something, I'm paraphrasing, of course. So I think because of that also could come back to haunt them. A lot of what the SEC has done or said has come back to haunt them many times. I don't think this is going to be any different, but we shall see. All right. So now with that, we got that out of the way. Let's get to this bank news. All right, man. And I said this, I was talking about this a lot last year, how there's record amounts of deposit flight. Now, wait. Now, typically with deposit flight, it's just people just don't trust the banks and they're pulling their money out and putting it elsewhere where they think is safety. But then there's another thing we were discussing. If you remember, I said, I believe the banks are going to have a big problem because everything else offers better yield. And I even show screenshots of everything. I show screenshots of the yield you can get from staking. That's going to come back to bite them also. Staking is delicious in the legacy industry. Aside from the bank, all the other legacy actors want in on staking. They're going to go insane with staking, which also has implications for how high prices can go in the future, because when they lock something up, they're going to drive prices through the roof. But that's in the future. We'll see if that happens. Just my humble opinion. So I showed the screenshots of various cryptos that could be staked and how much yield one could get from that, right? So that was one. Then also, never forget, I showed the screenshots from the CD rates. CD rates were what I really highlighted. Guess what? Let's read it. Let's read this. All right. So this article was titled Big Banks Warn. Maybe I'll use that as the title. That sounds pretty good. Big banks warn, or warning from big banks, something like that. It says big banks warn of sting from higher rates. Let's scroll down here. It looks like we made another good call. It says the benefits of high interest rates are fading for the nation's biggest banks as depositors increasingly moved funds to higher interest bearing accounts last quarter. So more deposit flight on top of everything else that's injurious to them. More deposit flight. But let's keep going. It says why it matters. A trio of banks turned in strong first quarter earnings Friday, but warned that the profit growth they've been enjoying from higher rates is starting to fade. We covered that yesterday. It says Wells Fargo said today its net interest income, the amount it earns from lending versus what it pays to depositors, fell 8%. We covered a little bit of that as well. But I want to get to this here. Customers are moving their funds from checking and savings accounts to higher yielding CD accounts. We made another good call. The video is still up. I told you, listen, everybody's going for higher yield and they don't trust the banks, and the banks are doing nothing for them. They're not even making an attempt. When people put money into a savings account, it is dying. That's why also you see people putting money into gold. And if you got into gold low, you're sitting pretty right now. You're doing pretty good right now. But yeah, I highlighted CD accounts. I showed all the rates. JP Morgan CFO Jeremy Barnum is the one who exposed this. He said this on a conference call that more and more customers are moving their funds from checking and savings accounts to higher yielding CDs. Why would they not? I don't see. That's just logical. That shows me there's a lot of very wise people out there, financially wise. Of course, you don't want your dollar to die. You want that money. You want your value, not dollar. You want your value to grow. It says, quote, ongoing migration, unquote, is likely to continue. And why is that? This is what he's adding this to the call. Why is that? Because there is absolutely nothing the banks can do. They can't compete in their current form. It says, even if the current yield curve environment were to change and meaningful cuts were to get reintroduced, we would still expect to see ongoing migration and yield-seeking behavior, of course. And then if you look at crypto, blockchain as a whole, there's so many different ways to earn yield. Staking, delegation, lending. You could be a lender yourself. You can lend, I don't know if that's popular right now or not. I'm just throwing that out there. So there's different ways to make capital, to bring in extra capital. That's really what people want. So they're worried about it. They're putting out the warning. They let the people know yesterday, hey, this is a questionable year. We don't know what's going to happen, which is a wild thing to say. If you are the financial system, the base financial system is warning people it's going to be a questionable year. If you want the exact quote, watch that video from yesterday. It came out a little bit late. Things were crazy. I don't know why YouTube was making the processing take I'm talking about super long, folks. That's why the video came out a little bit later yesterday. But it's always very strange. When it's my most potent videos, it seems like that's when everything goes haywire. So it just works out like that sometimes. And that was a potent video, in my humble opinion, yesterday. Lots of powerful news. So now let's move on here. We want to get to this Stellar news. They have some things going on. All right, we got to keep up with the bank coins. I don't play with the bank coins at all. This article is titled, Why We're Excited About the Cables Finance Launch on Stellar. It says the Cables Finance launch on the Stellar network represents a pivotal moment where traditional finance and blockchain technology converge, adding to its already strong ecosystem. Yes, but let's see, and I get it. I understand Stellar. You want to give them, some credit. You want to, sort of compliment Cables Finance, but let's not play games. Traditional finance and blockchain have already merged on Stellar. BIS uses Stellar for their green bonds. CC Bank uses Stellar for whatever that is. What was it? Their stable coin. Bankhaus Vonderheit, another stable coin system, but theirs was a closed system. The disbursement platform, the United Nations using Stellar. I mean, we could go on and on. So there's been the merge happening. It's just that it hasn't been popularized. It hasn't been widely covered. But okay, but I see where you're going with this. Let's keep going. So this partnership embodies a shared vision to simplify cross-border payments and bring liquid FX trading to blockchain, democratizing access to financial services globally. Says Cable's finance stands out in blockchain in the blockchain space with its semi-decentralized exchange model, a testament to our adaptability and commitment to innovation. This model blends the autonomy of self-custody with advantages. I almost said advantageous. My apologies, folks. With advantages of centralized liquidity, ensuring users enjoy a trading experience that's both secure and competitive. Oh, it sounds very good. Let's see. We're going to find out what you're made of. I'm just waiting on all that smart contract use to kick in. I know it's going to take time. I know how this works. But that's what I'm looking forward to. All that Sorrel band activity that it could possibly bring. It already is getting a little activity now. But I want that Solana style activity, that Ethereum style activity. I know it takes time. I know. It says innovations and features setting Cables apart. Cables Finance introduces a suite of unique features, including a central limit order book, slippage-free trading, and OTC capabilities, ensuring our platform is not just another DEX, but a groundbreaking financial tool that can bring stronger access to FX and high-quality stablecoins to support economies where currency value and trade is more volatile. All right, so they're still doing big things on Stellar. I expect to see many, many more in the future. Let's move on here. We have another one of our utility coins that I'm super bullish on. I don't think we covered this. This is why I want to delve into this here. This article is titled Chainlink rolls out Transporter, a bridging application built on its cross-chain interoperability protocol. Let's scroll down here, find out what's going on. Oracle Network Chainlink announced Thursday the rollout of Transporter, a bridging application that is built on its cross-chain interoperability protocol. You know what's crazy? There was another utility coin that has something similar to this. And you know what happens? I have so many articles, I don't get to cover them all. I might have 10, 15, sometimes 30 articles. Yet I may only cover 7 or 8. So then those other articles are still in my mind, and I have to question, wait, did I cover this or not? It happens, folks. Anyway, it says with an interface for submitting and monitoring cross-chain transactions on CCIP, Transporter aims to enable users to move tokens and messages in a secure manner across several blockchains, namely Arbitrum, Avalanche, Base, BNB Chain, Ethereum, Optimism, and Polygon, according to a press release shared with Unchained. The announcement comes as CCIP has generated about $422,000 in revenue since the start of 2024, averaging roughly $105,000 per month, a Dune dashboard created by Chainlink node operator Linkpool shows. Quote, having a secure way to move both value and data across chains is something the blockchain industry has needed for years, and I'm excited that Transporter is making that more accessible, unquote, said Sergey Nazarov, co-founder of Chainlink, in a statement. If this isn't bullish, I don't know what is. I mean, come on, they're already working with, can people not see where this is going? They already work with Swift. With Swift. How are people bearish on Chainlink? I will never understand. Now they do this. You don't think that's heading somewhere? Swift has a problem right now with interoperability. Swift has another problem right now with decreasing global reach because everyone knows Swift has become a weapon. I've covered that extensively, especially in the members only section. Okay. Chainlink can help them resolve some of that, acting as an intermediary of sorts. And listen, once again, Swift let it be known. Their own words, they said, hey, we're willing to bring in like 4 or 5 more of these blockchain companies. They never said who. I haven't seen an update yet on who. But is it out of the realm of thought that they could team up with someone like Ripple, XRP, XRPL? I mean, I don't think that they would team up with someone like Quant. Could Stellar be on the table maybe? Stellar brings some stuff to it. They bring a lot of reach and a lot of connections to the table. They're big in a lot of places that right now will reject the Swift system, especially in the future because of BRICS nations. I don't know. I mean, I'm just throwing out ideas. It could be a lot of different, we have a lot of good utility coin companies, but I'm just saying Chainlink is super bullish for things like this, in my humble opinion. All right, so now let's move on. Let's move on. Okay, we have more news to get to. I want to try to get to all of it today. So this article here is titled "Trader Known for Calling Bitcoin Bottoms Predicts New All-Time Highs for Bitcoin, Updates Outlook on Dogecoin Rival." That we're not going to cover that part. It says a trader who nailed the 2018 Bitcoin bear market bottom believes that the most recent correction has put Bitcoin in a position to rally to a new all-time high. I was saying something similar yesterday. That is also my sentiment, but we shall see. Just my humble opinion, not financial advice. The trader uses Elliott wave theory, which states that a bullish asset often witnesses a fresh leg up after a three-part ABC correction, says Blunt. Quote, "We got the sweep. I think that's the low, BTC, unquote." Says, looking at the trader's chart, he appears to suggest that Bitcoin will rally to a fresh record high of $82,228. And yeah, I think that's also possible if you have other big actors who have, in the legacy system, of course, who have used this as an opportunity to buy low. I think a lot of the prices were driven low because of that. That's why it was such a dramatic correction. Yes, sure. The halving is right there, but it's used as a smoke screen, sort of. A lot of things are used as smoke screens. And there's a lot of proxy activity out there, right? And so they drive the prices down. So those same actors, legacy system actors that said, hey, we sat out all of the other explosions in Bitcoin. Now we want in. They literally told people that in multiple articles. It's just not covered widely because that's not popular news. That's not news that's going to get you a lot of views, right? But they literally told the people, hey, we want in. So I think they're using this possibly as an opportunity to get in. If that's the case, then that base layer of legacy system capital is going to be a little bit higher, a little bit thicker. Then that would lend credence to the idea that, sure, now once they get in and prices start going up, and then of course that's going to serve as a catalyst for retail to come back in. You know how this works. Retail comes back in, then it will go a little bit higher than before. And sure, that $80,000 range. And if you remember, I said my safe numbers are 80,000 to 85,000. My high number, 100,000, right? Which I hope it goes well beyond 100,000, but that's my numbers for now. So I do believe that this is possible. I don't know if it comes soon, but at some point in the future, I think it's possible. It says the trader is also keeping a close watch on the movements. Oh, no, then he goes into some meme coin stuff there. So we'll stop there with that article. Let's move on here because JP Morgan, what are they doing? And let me tell you something. Let me read the headline, then I'll convey my thoughts. This article is titled JP Morgan Chase to sell financial data of 80 million clients as trillion-dollar bank launches media platform. What is going on? How is this professional? How is this being allowed? Listen, I don't deal with JP Morgan Chase, but I know this. If I deal with an institution and they say, hey, we're going to sell your information, and don't get me wrong, a lot of institutions collect your information without you knowing. That's different. And they sell it without you knowing. But if they're going to let you know ahead of time, I would definitely send a letter to them or make a phone call and say, hey, listen, I don't want my information sold. I don't know who you're selling it to, and I don't want my information out there. If I did, I will put it out there. I haven't. So that's shows you I do not want my information out there. This is absolutely crazy, in my humble opinion. It says JP, and it's irresponsible as a financial institution. So, hey, folks, if you're dealing with JP Morgan Chase, it may be time to ask them some questions, all right? Make some statements. JP Morgan Chase is launching a new business that will allow marketers and advertisers to target customers based on their spending data. And of course, information is big money. I'm talking about huge money, folks. That's why they're getting into this. Selling information is huge capital. It says to do that, the banking giant will be, they're going to do this, providing companies with the data it collects from its 80 million clients. The new venture called Chase Media Solutions aims to be a, quote, key conduit for brands, connecting them with consumers' personal passions and interests, unquote, which is nobody's business. This is just how I feel. My personal life is my own. My interest and my personal passions, I love that phrase, are my own. That is not for others to know unless I want to convey that to them. Says Rich Mulstock, president of the new firm. Quote, like retailers, we have first-party data and a dedicated audience. That's what they're... Wow. But what sets us apart is the unrivaled scale and insights from our customers. Yeah, customers that were financial customers. They were not aware of, or at least I don't believe they were, because I definitely wasn't, or a part of Chase Media Solutions. It says, having long served as a trusted guide for their financial decisions. Yes, and they didn't decide for you to sell their information. It says Chase. This is why people don't trust the banks anymore or the legacy financial institution anymore. They have no respect. Listen, I'm just different, folks. Maybe I'm a little old school. I'm big on respect, honor, nobility. That's not going to change. It's not. And I don't like when entities cross the line. I don't. It says Chase reaches across brands, merchants, and shopping verticals, providing a comprehensive view of purchase behavior. This strengthens the degree of personalization, helping brands deliver offers that stoke consumer interest, unquote. Unbelievable. We live in strange times, folks. Unbelievable. All right, so now let's end off here with a little bit of gold news. I've never loved gold more. And I've loved gold for a long time. Oh, man. Retail buying in Asia, including India, fuels gold price momentum. I told you all the big banks continue to buy record amounts of gold. And you know what? There's a lot of smart retail people, regular people, also buying gold to protect themselves. And they are very, very wise, in my humble opinion. I've been saying this a long time. Even when price was down in the dirt, we were talking the same way. We knew where gold was going to go, and it has gone there. And now people see that the banks are highly corrupt and, they don't protect your value. Matter of fact, they steal money some of the times. We heard about the one executive stealing $2 million from one client. Another executive stole $30,000. It's unbelievable what's going on in the banking industry. All articles that we've shown on the screen here, and you can look up for yourself very easily. But anyway, this article goes as such. Gold prices have experienced a notable surge in recent weeks, with the yellow metal witnessing an increase of over 11% in India alone. A recent report from Goldman Sachs highlights that this surge is not solely driven by traditional factors, indicating a shift in the dynamics of the gold market. The report underscores the significant role played by new incremental factors, particularly the surge in accumulation by central banks in emerging markets and increased retail buying in Asian markets, including India, have led to an increase in gold prices worldwide. Despite expectations of fewer federal rate cuts, strong growth trends, and record-breaking equity markets, gold has rallied by 17% over the past 2 months. It says analysts at Goldman Sachs note that the traditional fair value of gold, which typically correlates with real rates, growth expectations, and currency strength, does not fully explain the recent price movement. Instead, unconventional factors supported by the current macroeconomic policies and geopolitical tensions have been pivotal in driving gold's bullish momentum. All right, so now that you have that information, what are you going to do with it? I know what I'm going to do with it. So until next time, everybody, let's get to the money.